Cullen live in 1 minute. Welcome to Lynn Cullen Live at pghcitypaper.com. Email your questions and comments to Lynn at pghcitypaper.com.
Woo-wee! Here we are. Boy, was this a long time. And how long has it been?
Oh, just forever and forever.
How long has it been?
You know, it made me think of, do you remember that terrible movie, Valley of the Dolls?
Yeah, but I don't know.
And at the end,
I never
when
saw it,
one of them has been in the hospital for double mastectomy, and the other one has been in the hospital for detox, and they roll both of them out in wheelchairs, and they sing like "Love Forever." I thought about that. It's horrible. I haven't seen it in years, but it's so indelible.
Well, wait, it was Jackie Collins in that? Valley of the
She
Dolls.
wrote it.
Oh, she wrote it.
No, wait. Yeah,
Susan,
I think she wrote it.
What did that woman down in the lobby say to me?
That you look like, excuse
Oh, are you Joan Collins? Joan Collins?
Oh, dear.
And I was thinking
What?
because she was
Well, we're not hearing you, so don't talk to. Well, whatever.
on Dynasty,
But you know
is that
what?
what
But
you
that's not. That's not the. Oh, Susan's saying she was not Caucasian. She was a little older Asian woman, and she's suggesting that maybe all Caucasians look alike to her. Okay, right. That's what
I
I'm
had a
saying.
friend who went to a party in Los Angeles, Beverly Hills, and it was sort of a cul-de-sac, and there weren't, number plates.
We say cul-de-sac around here.
Cul-de-sac.
Okay,
Anyway,
all right.
Cul-de-sac, yeah. Well, you live in a cul-de-sac.
I
don't
do.
you? All
I
right.
live in a cul-de-sac.
Anyway, but it was
Cul-de-sac.
Christmas and time, and everyone was having parties. It was Saturday night. So he wandered in, and there were various people, and he didn't know anybody. It was a big party, he was told. And he's thinking that all of a sudden, who comes out but Joan Collins? And he said, he said she looked better than he thought she would up close. But she was so sort of tight. Oh, darlings, he would join. And it turned out it was the wrong party.
Yeah.
But who would know?
He'd gone to the wrong party.
Yeah, because it was her house. But
Joan Collins. Actually, someone in the Giant Eagle not too long ago said the same thing.
well,
I wonder what it is that they think I look like. I don't at all. Maybe because I'm a tall, imposing brunette.
Maybe.
Something
But
like
she's got
that.
like 15 years on you. She's got to be 80 or something.
So it's but they're not thinking of her now. They're
Well, I
thinking
suppose.
they're thinking
Yeah,
of
she goes back to being a Corinne back in the 60s, I think, late 50s.
Well, she's a Brit.
Yeah.
And what are we talking about her for?
know.
Just some
'Cause a
some
Chinese woman
bewildered
with
Vietnamese
macular
woman in the
degeneration.
lobby happened. What? Screws up the whole show. But
Well, we're sick.
It's all right. It's been. Okay, so Tom and I have been enriching the UPMC.
Yes,
right?
coffers.
Oh my God.
But for very good medicine. At least in my case.
Yeah, you noticed I didn't leap right in there in concurrence.
They change her to the bed.
Oh,
and
my
made her eat
God.
millet seeds for
I've
days.
seriously had the worst hospital experience of my
Really?
life, and I wasn't. You were in Montefiore, right?
Yes, uh-huh.
So was I.
Oh.
I mean, I started in the surgery was Presby. I
Yeah,
went to
right,
Presby,
right.
but then they
ship you out to the-
ship you out to Montefiore, which is essentially it's the same. I mean, it's all the same.
same hospital, yeah.
It's all the same. But nightmare.
Really?
Nightmare.
Huh.
And I will never. I did write them.
Oh, really?
A note,
Wow.
And I did say something to the effect that I have.
You escaped the camps, but you found Montefiore.
I was gonna have T-shirts made up for both of us saying we survived Montefiore or we survived UPMC.
No, I must say for me they were. And the thing that struck me about it was how quiet it was. And how
that's because they don't tend to people and they're all dead.
No. My case, they would come running.
Oh! You mean you had one of those little buttons?
Yeah.
Right.
Well, didn't you?
And when you, yes.
Oh. Well.
And when you pushed your button, what happened? What's the first thing that happened?
Well, they would answer.
You would hear, hello, what's wrong? All right, and then you would say, I need help, I need this,
yes.
And then would it be immediate? They would come.
Yeah, reasonably so.
Okay, all right.
Well,
did
they
always
Betty,
answer?
that's why.
Sometimes they never answered.
Really?
At all.
Really?
Never answered.
Really?
So I start thinking, is there just like one nurse here and maybe she's away from the place where the Okay, so then it's understaffed. Because if somebody were in
extremis.
I was going to say extremist, but
whichever.
I was on the right track.
Right.
If someone were really struggling, and they don't know why I'm hitting that button.
Right, exactly.
I mean, frankly, I'm hitting the button because I got to pee and I can't get up by myself.
Right.
So they don't come. So often they don't come, or they don't even come on the intercom and say what's wrong.
No, I had I realized a really wonderful experience.
God. Incompetence beyond belief. In-friggin' competence. Okay, I don't want to, so I did.
Hear that, Jeff Romoff?
Hey, yeah, Romoff. Let me tell you. And I think I found a lot of dispirited employees there, too.
Just the opposite. They're all...
You know what? Somebody's...
Wonderful humor.
A few people have told me. Depends on what floor you're on.
What floor were you on?
9, I think.
Oh.
What were you?
Well, I was first, I think.
See, you were in ICU.
No, I was not in ICU. No, not at all.
Right after the surgery, you were?
No. I was not in ICU.
Well, how come somebody told me that?
No.
Okay, all right. So what floor? You were not on 9.
I was on one floor.
If you end up on 9 North, Montefiore, I'm telling you, make sure you got all your papers together.
Oh, dear.
I'm serious. I am.
Honey, no one's going to ever treat you again. Here comes that harridan on the radio. She's going to diss everything. No, it's just so funny because I really had because since I was in for a rather long time, people said, how did you stand it? And I said, because they were really nice.
Do you know what? I was there for... Okay, so I hadn't eaten the whole day, pretty much before surgery. Then there was the surgery day. And then I'm into the afternoon of the next day. So it's almost like 48 hours. I have not eaten. And frankly, I didn't particularly want to, but someone came in my room and I said, is anyone ever going to feed me? I said. And she said, oh, well, you have to order. Mm-hmm. Well, see, now you know that, right? But obviously,
I found it out.
They didn't tell you. So obviously, she just throws this menu in front of me. I said, I order? And I said, well, how do I order? She said, you have to call and order. And I'm thinking, well, why the hell didn't somebody... So I would not have been fed if I had not said, is anybody gonna feed me? And that it is true that
when... I take out my violin. No.
And here's the other thing. I mean, this is another thing. There's a million things. This contraption I'm in.
Yeah.
Susan and others who have helped me since the surgery will attest. It is the most complicated, crazy-making thing in the world. It's so difficult to put on, take off, get right. There's a million different tabs and... They discharged me without anyone ever showing me how to operate it.
Oh, that's,
That's egregious.
No,
and it struck me. It was one thing after I couldn't get out of there fast enough. I could not. So I said to them, "What's that line in the UPMC commercials? Always,
I didn't choose.
Choose your health care as if your life depended on it. Right? Yeah, choose your health provider or your health provider as if your life depended on it." And I told them in my little note to them, In the future, I am going to choose my health care as if my life depended on it. Consequently, you will not be seeing me darken your door again. If I can help it. The only reason I ended up in their clutches is because I'm an AGH West Penn person. I am.
But the specific surgeon was...
It was the paramedics.
Oh, where they took you,
who took me, they insisted I go to Presby. I said, I'd like to go to West Penn. It was as close as Presby. No. They wouldn't because I was considered a trauma 2. I don't know what that means, but...
but you have to go to the closest or whatever.
And then once you're there, they own you. I guess they don't, but they did say, and you must, after a week, see doctor this and that. Of course, UPN, they get you in their system.
Well, no, but then they want you to go to the doctor who had worked on you, of course. That makes sense.
Well, F them. That's what I want to say. I mean,
well,
really, I escaped from
No, that's really
Montefiore.
funny because I really had such a lovely experience.
Oh, God.
Well,
and I would say that here's the other thing. We're both single.
Yes.
And we were in extremis, as you say. It's hard to be. You know what? They say single people don't live as long after a while because there's no one to care for us. You're on your own a lot more.
Yeah, that's true.
You don't have an advocate necessarily. I know you'll care for me, but I mean, generally speaking...
No, it's true. No, I admit, I was always able... Well, no, it was very funny because at the beginning, I was telling someone came to see me. My surgery was in the morning. And then someone came to see me, I guess, about 4 o'clock, and I didn't remember because
because you're out of it.
Out of it. And they said, oh, you just kept giggling. And I said, am I a giggler? No, but, you know. And I guess, although I was feeling a little better the next few days, I still was blitzed out on the...
that anesthesia is, you know, and some people can handle it better than others. I'm not a good general anesthesia person. Do you know how long your surgery was? How long you were
it was a couple
under?
Of hours, yeah.
Well, mine was 4.
Ooh.
And that poison that keeps you out so that they can do it, I feel it's still a little bit.
Well, sometimes they say it takes you, half a year really to get over. Plus the physical.
I know.
Healing of your injury area.
All right. Are we done now? We're done.
But
I just wanted
every
to.
Single person.
No, but I'm glad you had.
No, I really did have a wonderful
I'm glad you
experience.
had a wonderful experience. But remember these words because they could save your life. 9 North Montefiore. Run for your life. Hey, you don't watch it. You do watch stupid reality shows. Did you by any chance watch the premiere of the one that Howard Stern's on? Do you think you have talent?
I never. No, I don't.
Okay, you will not watch that. The first contestant they had was this 9-year-old kid.
Yes.
Who played the piano and apparently is a remarkable musician. Mm-hmm. But he was a little asshole, if you ask me. And I remember thinking, he was one of those overly precocious in every way, verbal, everything. He was so sure of himself. He was this and that. And they said, well, he's already in the 8th grade. He's going to finish high school in 2 years. He's going to be in, Harvard by the time he's 12. He's going to be... And he was just very matter-of-fact about it. And I could see Howard Stern was getting really put off.
Well, that's probably what Howard Stern was like when he was 8 years old.
Me too. But this kid was making my skin crawl. His last name was Romoff. And I started to
read
think,
something.
Right.
Yes. I think it's his brother.
It's his nephew.
Yes. Well, it's very interesting. Not to malign a child who I've not seen, but I have dealt with both Romoffs. And
what do you mean both?
Well, we wanted to do a project, and his brother, I can't remember what Jeff Romoff's brother's name is. First name.
The one who owns the advertising agency that he sent all that he totally sent millions upon millions of dollars to do the advertising for UPMC. You think that was a fair,
Well, if they did a good job.
Pure nepotism.
Well, I mean, so new.
If these Romoffs are such geniuses, he doesn't need his brother's help.
Well, I mean, I don't see that so terrible. But
I'm sorry, they can't do a thing.
This guy, though, was such a momser.
What's a momser?
Oh, you don't know momser?
I do, but you're speaking Yiddish.
Well, he's sort of like a so over the top personality. Anything you can do, I can do 6 times better. So if it is indeed his child, I'm not surprised.
Okay. I had the impression that he's divorced from the mother because the father didn't. Or maybe he didn't want to be seen on such a hoi polloi show. How would a Romoff? Why would a Romoff already, be?
Well, his father is a musician also.
Okay, and so is the mother. So that's probably his kid. His little pudgy, obnoxious piano playing pipsqueak.
Are you sitting on a pine cone
Romoff
today, Miss Lynn Cullen?
He's only a child. Maybe he'll.
My sister's saying he's only a child. He's a Romoff.
He'll go
and
up to
Romoff
be Shecky Green or one of those horrible comedians.
All right, I'll stop. And now let's hear some animus and bile from you, because somebody has asked the question: what does Tom think of the dancers in Market Square?
PPG Plaza.
PPG Plaza. And this is part of the
I believe it's in conjunction with the Three Rivers Arts Festival.
Three Rivers Arts Festival is going on now, which is the bane of your existence once a year.
Well, these are sculptures, as some of the locals may remember. A couple of years ago, the Laurel Foundation, which was set up with the funds from the late, and thank God she's late, the horrible person here, Cordelia Skate.
Oh, Cordelia Skate.
Oh, she hated me and I hated her, and we exchanged bilious letters.
What's her relation to Richard Mellon Skate?
Brother. That was her
brother, sister.
Yeah. And off radio, I'll tell you a story about her. But anyway, she believed. Oh no, this could be libelous. So.
Well, obviously, but you think that's why they want to hear it?
If it's true, it's not libelous.
If it's true, it's
but no one knows.
No, and she's dead. You can't libel the dead.
Oh well, then. No, the story was that Dick Scaife is still alive, but the story was
not
that
for long, I guess.
Well, yeah, sadly, that he didn't like someone who was to be her, or was her fiance, and
I know
killed.
This. Oh no! I mean, this is the one with the DA. He was a DA.
That I don't know. That I don't remember.
There was some murder mystery.
Yeah. Well, anyway.
Okay.
But she believed in beautifying America like Lady Bird, but she believed it in the most traditional sort of schmucky way, and so 2 years ago, the Laurel Foundation brought in, I think it was about 15 realist sculptures that they put all around the Gateway Center. And they were realist sculptures, some painted, some not, sitting on benches so you could almost go up next to them. And
have your picture taken.
One was left, or two maybe, I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway, but this guy's, I can't remember, I think it's J. Seward Johnson, heir to the Johnson & Johnson bandage thing. Anyway, and then he was also known, this was not locally, but some of your listeners may have seen this. He did this huge sculpture, like about 40 feet high.
Of Marilyn.
Of Marilyn with her skirt blowing up.
That was in Chicago. It's still in
Well, now he's gone on to taking 2 of the dancing figures from one of the beer gardens in Paris that was painted by Renoir. And it's two people, sort of bourgeois people, dancing in dress, from the turn of the century. But it's, again, about 30 feet high. And it is horrendous. And it's standing, right in the midst of that very austere glass.
So it doesn't fit there at all.
Cutesy, pootsy. Oh, it's horrible. I'd like to go with a grenade and shoot it down.
So how much longer do you have to suffer
I think it's longer than the festival, because I'm sure it cost a ton of money to bring it here. And
so this is the Laurel Foundation again brought it.
Yes.
So they like him.
Put schmutz in the parks. Schmutz being filth, dirt.
Okay, there's one other artsy thing that I saw in the paper today. You would know, I don't know if I'm going to pronounce it right, the art gallery Nadler and Company, or Nodler?
Nodler, yeah.
Nodler and Company.
Uh-huh.
This
is no longer in existence.
No longer in existence, but it did exist for
well
over 100 years.
Oh, it was a very
165 years.
No, it was a very blue chip gallery, yeah.
Well, I don't know if you saw this, but they have a lot of people that they sold stuff to who are now
they've ended
up in arms because
yeah.
they were selling them forgeries.
Yeah, right. Well, there were all sorts of legal improprieties in the last 20 years.
But here's the funniest forgery. Did you see this? And this is a forgery that the woman, Ann Friedman, who I guess owned the gallery at this point, had in her own home. It's a Pollock, Jackson Pollock. It's signed by Jackson Pollock. And the forger misspelled Pollock.
Yeah.
Well, how would
Dumb
you?
bunny. Yeah.
Well, how?
Well,
I mean,
stupid.
it's
Stupid.
God.
Yeah. It's one thing to say, well, she didn't have a subtle eye to make out the connoisseurship elements, and it wasn't. But I mean, Pollock misspelled. I mean, jeez.
It didn't have
How
the
stupid.
C. It wasn't CK. It was just
Yeah, well, it was
POLLOK.
misspelled.
Yeah, misspelled. But how she wouldn't have ever looked at that and recognized it immediately.
Yeah, well, dumb is dumb.
We're going to take a bit of a break. And Tom Sokolowski and I.
Risen from the dead.
Yes, both survivors of
stop.
UPMC will return.
More is on the way with Lynn Cullen Live.
Download the brand new CP Haps app and find out what's going on in Pittsburgh. It's the fun and free app that puts the most popular events at your fingertips. Text events to 77948 to download now and register to win tickets to WWE SmackDown at Console Energy Center on June 24th. The CP Haps app brought to you by Pittsburgh City Paper.
Dave, what are you doing?
Just sending a gift to Dave 2037.
Who?
Me in the future. I save a little money from every paycheck for Dave 2037 so he can buy anti-gravity boots or a hologram Doberman. What are you getting Steve 2037?
Steve 2037 will be just fine.
Well, okay, but don't expect to borrow my anti-gravity boots.
Save something for the future. Put away a few bucks, feel like $1 million. For free ways to save, go to feedthepig.org. That's feedthepig.org.
This message brought to you by the American Institute of Certified Public Accountants and the Ad Council.
Have a question or an opinion? Call Lynn Cullen at 412-316-3381 or email lynn at pghcitypaper.com. Now, more with Lynn Cullen Live.
All right, Tom. Margaret suggests that we move in together so that oh, God.
There was a British.
Your place or
There was
mine.
a British comedy which was about a senior citizen's home somewhere in the suburbs of London, and it was called Waiting for God.
Yes. Oh, there was a lovely little movie. Wasn't that a movie with a? It was old folks, retired musicians.
Oh,
home.
quartet about the
Was
opera.
it quartet? Yeah?
Yeah.
It was lovely.
Yeah,
Didn't
it was
you think that was a
Yeah,
lovely
it really
little?
was. With Maggie Smith.
Maggie
She
Smith,
was
right.
The
What a-
lead soprano.
Right,
yeah.
adorable. Just an
It was,
adorable movie. You should look it up.
Oh, you know, talking about movies, and it's just opening in Pittsburgh, so it's pertinent. There's a movie opening tomorrow. I think it's at the Regent. I can't remember. One of the
One of the
Pittsburgh filmmakers
yeah,
theaters.
one of the.
And it's called
Indies.
Ida or Ida.
Oh, I have heard of that
Yeah. Why did you?
because that's because
That's right. Oh, that's I thought.
because the other reason is at UPMC I was not Lynn Cullen.
Oh.
Ida, how are we feeling
dear.
today? And maybe that's what got me ready to
Because that's
kill.
your legal name.
It's my first name, and it's the name that's on my
On your
damn
bracelet?
Medicare
Oh, I see.
thing.
Oh, I see. Okay.
And I must have said to everybody, please, call me Lynn.
Oh, Ida. Well, no, because they always want to know before they give you any medicine. They check, so they're not giving
How
you
often
the
they
wrong
say,
medicine.
what's your birthday?
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Right.
What's your birthday? What are they doing?
Right.
But it's wonderful. It's about this young girl who's been in the convent all her life. She was an orphan. And
Oh, yeah, I read a
then
review about
when
this.
she's about to take her orders to be
Yeah.
a nun, her mother superior says she must go, and they found her relative, long lost relative,
And she's a Jew.
an aunt. She's a Jew.
Sure.
But it's no, I won't say it's charming. That's not the right word. But it's a small film, black and white, but it's very moving. Very moving.
Did you see, and I meant to talk about this yesterday,
Yes.
did you see how Cardinal O'Connor
Oh, I glanced at that article.
Cardinal O'Connor, who was the cardinal before Dolan.
In New York City.
Is Dolan a cardinal already?
Yes.
Yeah. In the New York City diocese. And he was a very powerful man for a long, long time, who died in 2000.
Yes.
His surviving sister got into the genealogy thing. Somebody gave her a subscription to Ancestry.com, and she got busy. And lo and behold, she found out that the cardinal and she were Jewish.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I saw that.
Their mother
right.
was the daughter of our rabbi. Oh. And the rabbi is buried in Connecticut, and the mother, so Cardinal O'Connor's grandparents were
Jewish.
Very Jewish.
Yeah.
And he didn't know.
That's so
because
funny. So it's not like something in the old country, but I mean something in this country.
Well, it said, I think the New York Times had an article that said that the family,
Jews, though, yes?
but he never, his mother.
Yes. Split off.
Split off from there were a lot of siblings, and I mean, his mother did not want to have anything to do.
I see.
With her parents, I guess, or she just wanted to pass into the majority. Yeah, whatever. And everyone, he knew his mom had converted.
Oh. Okay.
He knew she was not born Catholic, but he assumed because she had a German name that she had been a Lutheran. Now, I come from a family in which we talk, and I can no more. I can no more imagine.
Yeah, but not
never asking your mom, tell me about my tell me about your father. Tell me about your mother.
But the only thing is, don't you think people give clues in terms of, maybe when that question was first asked by the toddler, oh, we don't talk about them, they're dead.
And then they stop asking.
Yeah, and they stop asking. No, I believe that easily.
Excuse me, Susan, here.
She did ask her mother, who had a mangled finger, how she mangled her finger, and her mother said, playing in Dad's butcher shop. So he was the rabbi and the butcher, and then and they figured that out. That was what made everything seem true.
I see.
It was true, but so he was a rabbi and a shochet.
Shochet, right?
Kosher butcher.
Yeah.
And his grandson was a cardinal of the Catholic Church.
And particularly,
you didn't like him.
I didn't like him.
Well,
in that role, as Dolan is equally icky that way.
Although I think Dolan is more gregarious.
Yeah, but they're both sort of very hail fellow, well met, but really conservative.
They're pals. They're Irish pals. Yeah,
exactly.
That's what the. Okay, and speaking of that,
Irish pals with one leg in the shul.
Right. God. Anyway, his sister said that the family is embracing this knowledge and are thrilled. I don't know if he would have been, but maybe he would have been.
Maybe they're going to put a mezuzah on his grave or something.
Right. He should have some indication.
Yeah, right.
Little Star of David wouldn't hurt.
Right, exactly.
Okay, so speaking of Irish Catholics, what do you think?
This whole thing is
just beyond
awful.
This is worse than it feels worse than the pedophilia stuff. It feels because it's like, I don't know, because it's children.
The pedophilia thing is like about oiges. It's horrible, whatever, but
but this is malevolent.
And the thing was interesting, for those of you who didn't read this, it was basically these girls who had gotten knocked up. I think I once said this to you. In Illinois, whenever that happened, they'd send the girls to Wisconsin. Well, Wisconsin was all. Yeah, you said that on the radio. Maybe that place.
They might have been in that place that did.
I bet
did our sheets.
Maybe Betty Zubritsky, this girl,
ended up in Green Bay. Poor dear.
But so we knew about that. But the fact that then these little babies. They probably didn't treat them very well because so many died.
They died of malnutrition. They died of all these things that no baby should die of.
But then when they went to school, They were made to sit in the back. They were referred to as like the slut babies or something like that. And then it said...
And the teachers made the other children... I mean...
Well, they said yesterday, there was a follow-up. It said that these kids would be these children, the bastards, would be let go 10 minutes before so they would walk home separate from the normal children, the blessed children. And then, for Catholics who are supposed to be so, close to God, they didn't even baptize these kids. So they were really seen as spawn of the devil. When they really
they were spawn of it was a mortal sin.
Yeah. But not for the child.
Well, they must have decided it was. That
yes. And then, according to my training, and these babies then would be left in limbo, which was like the waiting room. Are you in your hospital room at UPMC waiting? Wherever. But, it's horrible. And it was very funny. The other thing, I think I mentioned this once, one of my staff and then friends was an Irish girl, younger than both of us are. And when the film The Madeline Sisters, which you mentioned yesterday, was on, which I saw, which is really quite grim, much more grim than Philomena.
Right.
But anyway, I once said to her, something was so horrible. And she said, well, no, the even more horrible thing was these girls were not kept chained up, but that they had no place to go because if they tried to go back,
their families had turned
their families, or even like if they went to another town, it would be like, well, where'd you come from?
It would
and
be
if you were thought to be a fallen woman, again, out the door. So they stayed there because they were shunned. This was their only home in inverted commas.
And many of them, you have to figure, were rape victims.
Oh yeah, sure, I'm sure.
Wow.
Well, but I mean, is that any worse? It's not as bad as people in the Middle East, where if you're raped, then your brother-in-law comes or your brother comes and hits you with a rock. Yeah. That's just women. And then this whole thing, I think it was yesterday's Time front page about these women who move here with their families from Somalia and various places.
Oh,
in
yes,
Africa.
yes.
And then they live here and they grow up to be 18, and then they're sent home to see their grandmothers.
I think they don't get that old. No, because you can't wait till 18. They get them at 11 and 12.
And then they do these, clitorectomies or partial clitorectomies.
They
tie up their
they take
vaginas
their
just awful.
They're called what? What were those called? Somali vacations?
I should laugh.
Beware when if you're a Somali girl and your parents want you to go back and see the homeland, they're planning on taking any sexual pleasure from you.
Really?
For the rest of your life.
And a lot of it also happened in Nigeria, which is thought to be one of the more enlightened countries, except for this Boko Haram business.
But these are
kids.
These are kids. I've not heard this. PJ writes, recently an artist created what is said to be Van Gogh's severed ear. It was made from the genetic material from Theo Van Gogh's bloodline. Theo Van Gogh was murdered, assassinated in Amsterdam or Brussels? In Brussels by a Muslim lunatic.
Yeah.
It was made from the genetic material of Theo Van Gogh's bloodline. No matter what you think of the piece, what is the obvious error? I didn't hear, pun intended, anyone reporting the story to mention the mistake.
Go down. Maybe he shows you that's it. Well, it's the wrong ear, if that's what he's talking about.
It's the wrong ear. He cut off his right ear. And this is a picture.
Is the left ear.
How can you tell if it's a left ear or
a
right
at it.
Ear?
Well, because it's...
No, because it's just facing that way.
No, but it's
no, you're
flat.
right. It would then be... No! Who's stupid now?
Yeah, right, exactly.
Is that right? Oh, that's creepy.
Oh, yeah, I saw that. It was shown in one of the art blogs. Stupid.
This is creepy. All right, and now... I would like to scream about the local weather people. Did you?
Oh, yes, last night.
Did you?
I put on the CBS 7 o'clock news, and then they're going on about this. There was 6 minutes left in the severe weather, whatever. And they're saying It's probably moving down Johnson's Pike. And if you're driving there, get off the road.
Get off the road immediately.
It was going on and going on.
And they were two teaming. So we had on NBC, so PXI, and they break into break into the network news. Break into the network news, and they never let the network news back on
for half an hour.
And they had two, not one meteorologist working it, but two. And one of them in particular, I'm sorry, I don't know any of these guys' names anymore, has the most riotous, in this regard, he's good, because the whole idea is to make you think something is like, you have to.
Dorothy is coming down with her house.
That's right. You are riveted for your very life. You better listen. And there's one of them who he crouches down. He's in a crouch, and he has this extraordinary excited body language. And he's this, and he's that, and you think, oh my God.
Yes, right.
And they just keep saying the same thing over and over.
Right, exactly. Well, mine wasn't even, they didn't even show the people. They just had one of those maps. And every so often they would draw, but you'd see a drawing come on. But my feel about, it's one thing to say, it may hit near, Wilkinsburg. But no, it's on Johnson's Pike, and then if you turn left onto Cullen Pike,
and you know what?
Watch out.
What I was thinking is, they and they say, and this new, they're always showing off their latest technology.
Right.
Which is, has more color than
so sure.
And this and that, and now they have 3D. And none of it means a damn thing to any of us.
No, exactly.
They do have an important job to warn people who are in imminent danger. They overdid it. It is such a joke.
I was thinking, do you ever seen that one commercial? Like a good neighbor, stay firm. And then all of a sudden it stops. I felt like saying, why don't you sing that and everything will stop. Jones Pike will be fine.
Right.
But and everything is severe. And yes, it was strong winds and rain in some parts.
Right.
But and then they kept telling us something which I had never heard before about, well, it wasn't a tornado, but it was like a funado or some name like that. And I thought, please.
Come on. And the fact what somebody thought they saw a funnel cloud, which is what allowed them to break in and never give us back the news, or Jeopardy, which is what I wanted to see. Never saw Jeopardy because you kept, and here's what the one meteorologist kept saying, because they just go on and on. And now, bringing you up to speed on the latest news. He must have said, bringing you up to speed. I'm thinking, I'm so up to speed. I am so up to speed. You do not bring me up to speed. And we were wondering how many. So, in all the people who are watching this overreaction and overplay, what percentage do you think
ran into
were
the bathroom?
Screaming? What percentage were screaming me at them to get off, and what percentage were being terrorized?
Yeah, right. Well, they do the same sort of thing. Once I had this happen. Again, it was around the same time, 7 or 8 o'clock. And the sort of, and it was about an abduction of a baby. And they gave you this. But again, too, they kept repeating, if you see a yellow Subaru Lanxess or whatever, I wouldn't know one if you put it in front of me.
Yeah.
But
well, we won't go there.
We got a rather scurrilous email
about the church, and we will not go there. Because we could do a whole show, but I gotta. And one of the funny things is they cut into the NBC nightly news during a package, rather long, and I think an interesting piece about how the O.J. Simpson trial,
20 years ago, isn't it? Something like that.
Whatever is, you can look at that and see that was the beginning of reality TV. Mm-hmm. And look what
the chase.
The networks. It did not obviously. It didn't escape their interest that America was riveted
for 40
to something that you would think is not a very slow-moving car, and I thought what was fascinating is so they cut out of that piece about how the O.J. trial begot the scourge of reality television. And they cut out of that to go to another scourge of television, which is the fact that now technology allows these weather people to abscond with the program you want to see and to, I feel like I'm watching them masturbate. That is how, and the technology is only going to get more and more and more so to the point where
it's going to hit Lynn Cullen's backyard.
That is right. That's what they're going to say. If you are on, here the following people must take take shelter immediately.
Now you opine, brought up O.J. Simpson. Isn't there something like they found some evidence of wherever they may reopen?
Oh, police!
I thought.
No, I don't know.
I'm wrong about that.
I'm not paying attention. One of the joys of being an invalid at some point is that you don't feel well enough. You simply cannot tolerate news in any form.
So you just put on.
And so I was
One Life to Live?
I know, I couldn't even watch TV.
Oh, really? Okay.
I couldn't focus on anything.
Oh, okay.
I was so miserable. I couldn't believe how sick I was. I couldn't believe it.
Well, I think
this one just so blindsided me. It was beyond.
Well, I think I once commented on this, but I've used this quote many times because it's so true. Susan Sontag wrote this book called "Illness as Metaphor" about cancer.
I love what you're going to say.
And the book begins, and she said there are two kingdoms: the kingdoms of the well and the kingdom of the ill.
Right.
And when you are in one, you cannot countenance the other. And this is true even, I'm not talking about someone you had rather serious, but just having a bad cold and you feel like shit. And you think, and you know you're going to be better in 3 days or 2 days. But all you can think about is being ill. And then when you're healthy, you don't even think about like, oh, poor Lynn Cullen, let's go on to talk about tap dancing.
And I really, in the first 10 days, despaired that I would ever, I really couldn't believe I would ever find myself again. I really felt that. I was blown away by this. Anyway.
But you're back to your lively, pugnacious self.
But no, I'm not quite, because I'm on right now.
Yes.
I did the show yesterday all by myself.
Yes.
Drove down all by myself. Went home. I think I got a little thing to eat, didn't I? I went up. I said, I'm just going to go lie down for a little while. I was out cold till my brother, who's still here because he can't get out because of the rain. He's on his motorcycle. I went out for 3 hours. I do 1 hour and then.
But you went through a serious medical.
I'm still just situation. Not there.
It takes a while.
It's unbelievable.
No. It takes a while.
The patient must be patient. Well, this patient, that's not something that's in my.
Patience is not part of your makeup.
No, that's a virtue I do not possess. Lynn Dorothea writes, I used to think that weather reporting in this area has historically been overkill, and I guess it has. But when the radar is showing circular motion, I think it's fine for them to steal the airways until the threat is gone. In places like Tornado Alley, this is very common. So nice to hear you and Tom back again, mister.
Thank you, Dorothea.
The radar was showing circular motion. Well, you can give us the information we need with a crawl or even a split screen.
Right.
With all the technology, don't tell me there's not a way.
Well, and the other part of it is, what she's saying is, if indeed that is a really good, 80% of the time if there's circular motion, there will be a tornado. But I think of what if there's some little old, you're talking about when you're alone and if you're incapacitated, you're in a wheelchair.
Right.
Well, I can see some little old lady trying to roll in a wheelchair and then falling down the stairs.
And you kill her.
So, Dorothy doesn't always land in Oz.
But it's true. The viewing area is not just where you live. It is true. I could tell the threat. Didn't even have rain anymore. Pittsburgh was clear, but it was still going.
Earlier, right,
but that is their
right. Well, especially this time of year, it's always those highs and lows.
But they
crashing.
never. I mean, they do tend to make, and it's true, a mountain out of a molehill.
Well, they have to make it into news. The weather is not news. It's going to rain. It's going to be hot. That's not news.
And then they'll subject
tornadoes are news.
Today they'll subject us to sort of clips from them, and you were warned by
and a broken tree trunk on top of a Volkswagen.
And then that's all they'll be able to find is, well, we have
little
this
Sherry
branch,
Jones saying,
right?
My mommy's car was crashed. Oh, how sad.
Yeah, I don't care. Right.
Little Sherry, blank you.
Oh, dear. Okay. So it's a wonder then that any of those people who live in Oklahoma and, Tornado Alley ever see any television.
Or smile. No wonder they all look like those pictures by Dorothea Lange, during the Dust Bowl. Mm.
By the way, that famous picture of that woman that Dorothea Lange took
in the 30s.
She is such a handsome woman, that poor... Do you know which? I'm
yeah.
I'm telling you.
I mean, that's the thing about those pictures.
She looks like a tough, hardened.
She had to be.
But there was such her face is so. I think,
well, that's what makes them so grand. That they're just not dirty, pathetic, migrant workers. They had their dignity, and they wanted to.
That's another thing I
wanted
to say. Right. You mentioned dignity. That's just one other thing I want to say.
Okay.
Is there any way to retain your dignity once a hospital gets hold of you?
Well,
I'm serious. I am serious.
Certainly not in that garment they give you.
Not just the garment, in any way, in the way they sort of tell you what you can do, what you can't do.
I just have a very different experience.
With a sort of phony baloney cheerfulness, maybe. Although I didn't see much of that.
Well, I think I would say to you, I know what you're saying, but I think to a certain extent you have to
surrender.
Be pliant. And surrender, but that's not a terrible thing.
Yes, it is.
No, it isn't. If you're ill, I mean, it's a terrible thing if you just say, "Oh, Harry, will you cut my meat?" But I mean, if you're having a hard time getting up to use the urinal, what have you, that's. You can't be such a mean, crusty old biddy all of your life.
Hey, did you see that
Susan's not.
You see that internationally famous researcher who's he's considered like the greatest one, and he took
in which field?
Diabetes. He just picked up and moved his lab and all his research assistants over to Allegheny General, and he said UPMC. I love it.
Well, I read
it.
that, but to be fair, and not because
fair.
Wait a minute.
This is my show.
Oh, we're going to play that now, are we? No. I think, to be fair about that, not because I'm talking about my hospital experience, I mean, there was probably some money, etc., that they allowed him. It wasn't that he was just saying, oh, I love AGH. I mean, they gave him a better deal.
All right.
And it could have been the other direction.
But this sense that some people have that, UPMC is the be-all and end-all, and that the docs and people over at AGH or West Penn are a bunch of washouts, what do people think? That is such bull.
No, that's true.
They just don't have as much money to advertise and, brainwash.
Well, they've been doing, now, to be fair, they've been
Will you stop saying to be fair?
We're on the airwaves, darling.
But
no.
In a
They have their whole things. Like, what was the one thing about, I just saw this the other day, Heart something or other. They run this commercial about AGH's heart.
Yeah.
Something. So they're running commercials.
Well, because
they're both equally heinous in this whole situation, I would have to say.
I will just say the entire healthcare delivery system
is fucked up
in this country is a disaster.
It is.
It is a disaster.
Well, and part of it, why I mentioned about that doctor, the diabetic person, part of it is, he's obviously smart. He's bringing his team, knock on wood, as someone who's a diabetic, if he finds something and if they're able to help me before I croak. But it's because these people get these amazing salaries, and he's probably getting millions for his team. And, hopefully they'll find something. But, that's partly why all healthcare costs are so high. Because, it's just like today, the switch, but it's partly the same thing. There's an article, both in the local paper and the Times, about a fellow who's an opera lover. lives in Connecticut.
Right.
And that in his youth, he was a singer, and he was an extra singer at the Met Chorus in New York. And he's grown older, etc. And he's wanted forever to set up, in a smaller scale, the ability in Connecticut to do Wagner's The Ring of the Nibelungen, the 4-opera masterpiece of Wagner. And it's a big to-do it any place. But his idea was to do it in a smaller version in Connecticut and do it every year like they do at Bayreuth, which was the festival place in southern Germany where Wagner set up the perfect theater, etc. So with all the economics of this, and this is why I'm bringing this up, he said, well, what about there's a technology that they've discovered in Germany or Austria where they can use, I mean, it would be like the equivalent in a much more basic way
digitized
of karaoke.
Music. You would not have to have an orchestra.
Well, because it's, especially with Wagner, it can be 90 or 100 musicians at a fairly nice salary.
Right.
So he decided if he could get good singers, then he would have them sing to recorded music, which, everyone from Justin Timberlake, etc. does. I mean, so professional musicians, opera notwithstanding, do play with recorded music. Well,
all hell
the musicians from the Musicians Union at the Chicago Lyric Opera, one of our preeminent opera companies, said, if any of you singers do it, we'll blacklist you and you'll never sing again. And so this one guy who
but they're fighting for their livelihoods.
But the issue becomes, and I'm not saying musicians should be paid any less, but you can't. I mean, do you want to hear opera? And so is everyone willing to take somewhat of a pay cut, as well as management? I don't just mean musicians or singers or stagehands. Although stagehands.
Well, let's not even talk about the Carnegie Hall stagehands who make like $500 million a year.
A crate around. But anyway, it's the costs have gotten, like they had something in the paper, it was in the blogs, that Peter Gelb, who's the general manager of the Metropolitan Opera, says that in 2 years the Met may have to close. They have a
because they simply can't afford. Wow.
And there's charging people, like if you have a decent seat, not in pauper's heaven, $395, or more.
Well, we have to take a bit of a break, Tom.
Good for filthy lucre.
Yeah, filthy lucre, give me more.
Stick around for more with Lynn Cullen Live after this.
Pick up the Pittsburgh City Paper today. Still the #1 source for weekend fun in the Burgh. Go online now at pghcitypaper.com to vote in the 2014 Best of Pittsburgh Readers Poll and type in promo code CPLBTIX for your chance to win Luke Bryan tickets. Vote now before it's too late. Pittsburgh City Paper, available at over 1,700 locations throughout Western Pennsylvania, and on the web at pghcitypaper.com, and on your smartphone at citypapermobile.com.
All righty, the Urban Gardener. I love this place. It's got everything you need. It is more compact than a lot of these huge nurseries that make your head spin with so much stuff. It has everything from the trees to the bushes to the annuals to the perennials to the ivy to the tchotchkes to the whatever. And then, as I have said, these two women who run this place are so available when you're there, so friendly, so willing to answer all questions from people who pretend to have green thumbs but really don't. People who love to get their hands in the dirt but really don't know what they're doing. And even if you want them to actually consult, to come to your home and say, well, I think you should do this, do that, blah, 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 or maintenance, they will do it all. It is the garden spot on the north side, 1901 Brighton Road. And do you know where that is, Tom?
I know where Brighton Road is.
Yeah, well, and it's right barely up and on the left, Brighton Road. And just check out their website because that is as great an introduction as you could get. UrbanGardenerPGH.com, okay? And if you go, and I hope you do, and if you buy, and I sure hope you do, mention my name, honestly, when you're checking out, and say, give me my discount. I just said the magic words, Lynn Cullen. I wouldn't try Ida. It won't work. Okay?
Oh, and probably you get flowers to put on a grave.
All right.
All your things.
That was done.
The traditional light bulb, a groundbreaking invention in 1879. It's time we switch to longer-lasting Energy Star light bulbs. They're more efficient than the old bulbs, like a text message is more efficient than a carrier pigeon. And they cut down on our energy costs. Because in our own groundbreaking age, we deserve a light bulb that saves us some cash. Saving energy saves you money. Learn more at EnergySavers.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Energy and the Ad Council.
Now, it's back to Lynn Cullen Live at pghcitypaper.com.
Okay, we are back.
Oh,
all right. Ansel writes, regarding maintaining your dignity once you hand yourself over to the healthcare system. During my last stay in the hospital, I refused to wear the hospital gown. I'm sure you don't have to.
No, right.
I bought a loose pair of sweats with me, and when they weren't looking, I changed into them. I was scolded a few times by the nurse, but when they realized they had met their match, they gave up and worked with me. Yeah.
Well, it also, I mean, it has to do with how often, let's say, where your wound might be. It might be more difficult.
Right. Yeah. I mean, there might be some instances where you really do need to be in that horrible thing that they can just rip
Well, you know what I said to them, and I said, well, I put this on, maybe I'll do this, since I have a bit of time at the moment. I said it'd be nice to do a contest with fashion designers and artists.
Well, people
to
have.
Create,
I think somebody said that there have
well,
been.
they've never been incorporated. I said both for the patient, because even those gowns are weird. They have snaps everywhere. But also for the nurses, I said, do you like walking around in what basically are children's pajamas?
What is that? Why do those scrubby things that the nurses and any healthcare worker have to wear have to be so infantile and ugly?
Well, and you know, in some places you have to buy them only from authorized dealers, and then they charge for those schmatas. They charge you a lot of money.
And the people have to.
And because the colors refer to. I'm red, so I'm a bedpan carrier. I'm blue, so I'm a nurse practitioner.
Yeah.
I'm green, so I'm a skivvy.
Yeah.
So by their colors you shall know them. Or something biblical like that.
Hey, so you see, Pittsburgh is having this, fight between the yellow cab and these upstart Uber and Lyft that are essentially car paging entities.
Right.
You just get an app, you go on the app, say, I need a car at so-and-so, and someone in whatever car they got comes and picks you up.
And you can literally see how far away it is.
Right. So, Uber...
that's the one that has the mustache on the front of the car.
I know, I think Lyft.
Lyft is the mustache.
Lyft has those disgusting mustaches, which I don't like. But Uber is apparently funded by a lot of these Silicon Valley guys who think it is going to be hugely rewarding financially to them. And they are now all over, they're all over Europe. This started here in the United States. They're just starting to make their way. But this company Uber is valued at $17 billion.
But what's interesting is it seems like, unless I read this incorrectly, Pittsburgh is the first place that really is giving them a run for their money. I mean, in terms of the
you mean pushback?
The transit unions.
No,
okay.
St. Louis.
They did the
St.
same
Louis
thing.
too.
Really?
Yeah. So no, I think they have to fight everywhere they go.
Well, the one thing.
But did you see what Europe did yesterday?
No.
All across Europe, even in countries that they're not in yet, all the taxi drivers stopped their cars.
Oh, I see.
At the same time, refused to allow Europe's taxi drivers from London to Lyon, Milan to Madrid, thousands simply stopped in the middle of streets and shut down transit all over Europe.
Well, I mean, you've been ranting all day. I'll rant on this. I mean, I would say in Britain, this is from just my experience, There, I could see, because you have to do this thing called the course, and it's literally a year of training, and you have to know every little street.
Everyone, you have to literally memorize every street in.
Right. And many people fail the first time. Sure. But anyway, those people know where they're going, they're good drivers, etc. So I could see them complaining. They're insured. And, one of the things that was written about is the fact of, we all said, oh, isn't this great, nicer cars like that. But, you or I could be Uber drivers. You don't have to have any expertise. You don't have to carry extra insurance.
I know. So there is a legal aspect. But obviously, Uber is willing to underwrite that.
But the other part of it,
insurance.
though, is, the cab drivers in this city are dreadful. The cab drivers in New York are dreadful. No one knows where they're going. They're talking on the phone to someone in Karachi, and, it's not as if they're such well-trained, well-articulated, knowledgeable people. That's why people are going to Uber.
And see, now with GPS, you don't have to, I don't know, but they also think that these ride services are going to continue this sort of erosion for the first time since Henry Ford's started putting cars out there on the road. An erosion, a finally downsizing of how many people bother to have a car.
That's true.
Why?
Well, and along with this thing, what is it? It's been on, I know my building, we have one given to us. Those cars that, what are they called?
I don't know.
Access cars.
Oh, access too.
Or whatever,
but also they're going to be cars that drive.
No, but this is something, though, that, what the hell is it called?
I don't know.
Where basically you can call up or go if there's one in your neighborhood, and you can literally rent the car for an hour.
Oh, that Zip car.
Zip car.
Zip. Yeah. So there's Zip cars, and there's Uber and Lyft, and then there's going to be cars that drive themselves.
Oh, yeah.
And all of this is going to sound like such an absurd argument. In 20 years, no one will even understand this. We were watching a movie last night, and somebody ran into a phone booth to make a call. And I was thinking...
Where are their phone booths?
I was thinking, if you're born, in the last 10 years, and then everybody born from that, you'll think, what is that?
Exactly. Well, it was very fun. When I was in New York a few weeks ago, I had to mail something. So I got out of my friend's apartment where I was staying, and I was walking down one of the main avenues, and I must have walked 10 blocks. I called another friend, and I said, what's happened to the mailboxes? There are no mailboxes. There used to be one like every other street.
Really?
And he said, oh, and I guess I never had to mail something in New York previously in the last number of years. And he said, oh, yeah, since 9/11, they just cut back. Plus, with the costs of, as we know, the mail system, they want to privatize it all over. They've gotten rid of mailboxes, but again, they're afraid people are going to throw bombs or Molotov cocktails in the...
Well, I got to tell you, it is so hot in here that I'm starting to schwitz.
Oh, dear. I haven't noticed yet.
And we've run out of time anyway.
Okay.
Are you going to be here next week?
Yes, of course.
Wow! 2 in a row. We're going to do 2 in a row.
I'll be stand by your cripple. Stand by
your
cripple.
It's okay. It's all right. And have a great one. And tomorrow, Potter.
Oh, good.
I think. I even got an email from his father during my hiatus saying, nice. Where the hell are you? So I think because of his father alone, Potter won't dare stand me up tomorrow. That's what I think. Right, Mr. Potter? Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Lynn Cullen Live, Monday through Friday from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. and archived at pghcitypaper.com. The opinions expressed on Lynn Cullen Live are those of the host and do not necessarily reflect the viewpoints of Pittsburgh City Paper, Steel City Media, and its advertisers.